say thanks to our fans that traveled to Tampa this past weekend. They certainly had an impact on us, made a great impression on our players, and they're very grateful for that. And looking forward to seeing a bunch of them, seeing all of them pack up Hard Rock this Friday night. But again, right to work, right shorter week, I should say, for our guys, and we have an opportunity to open up conference play against one of our storied rivals. Can't say enough about them. I think we've seen enough tape to know these guys are as talented as anybody that we have faced, and then some, especially talented up front, very powerful, explosive, twitchy, top 10 in sacks in the country for a reason, and they're deep. They've got all kinds of, they play their base stuff, but they also have significant amount of exotic pressures in our high-pressure organization. They're very organized. They're really good tacklers. On defense, they're long. A lot of athletic ability, a lot of speed. They do a good job on the back end, one of the top cover teams in the country. And then they're, again, complemented by awesome special teams, as Virginia Tech always is. And offensively, I think, you've all seen it. I mean, this is a team that returns 20, I believe, of 22 starters from last year's team. One of the favorites, not only to win the conference, but to be in the college football playoff. They're loaded. They're a loaded football team, and their quarterback is an extremely explosive, dangerous, accurate player, a great leader, and they're big, massive up front, great running game, explosive receivers. Looking forward to a great matchup. So questions, please.
You spoke on the radio this morning about playing angry, staying angry. When things are going as well as they are right now, how does a team keep that? How difficult is it to keep that edge? When I know there's correctables on the film, Cam was very open about saying that we leave stuff out there. You're very open about it. How does a team keep that edge when stuff's going on?
I think leadership at every level, especially in the locker room. I think the guys have adopted that mantra because it kind of goes back to what they decided a while back. They felt like they've had enough. They've had enough of all the stuff been hearing for a couple of decades. And even though some of them weren't from here or didn't know much about it, they've learned it. And I think they've also realized that positive anger is that energy that burns clean. It just keeps going. It's almost an endless supply of juice, and it's real. There's no gimmicks to it. There's just watching that film, knowing that there's a standard, we haven't achieved it yet, and that there's room to grow, but we feel we can achieve it. So full throttle, foot on the gas.
If I could, and you've made some references to this over the last couple of years, especially, but the moves, the strides that the program has made academically, how does that translate into just, I don't want to say smarter kids or smarter football players, but how does that side translate into making the right decision at critical moments?
We feel it's completely tied in. I mean, it's you are what you are 24/7. I don't think you can Jekyll and Hyde much in life, right? You can't. I'm not saying I play with perfect citizens. We were, a little bit here and there, but I think the advances in football, it's so much more complicated now. The demands, the rigors that come with it, with the regiment, you have to have just Class A, top-notch human beings that understand betterment, understand being a high achiever in all things. So, I mean, that's 5 successive semesters where our GPA has broken the previous semester and team record from a GPA standpoint. Jessica Lopez is I refer to her as a coach. She's our director of academic student services, associate AD. She is the best in the business, was super impactful for us out there at Oregon, and she's gone above and beyond here. And that's a direct correlation to improvement on the field because, it becomes part of your DNA. You refuse to lose and you refuse to settle for anything but your best.
With Ruben, I know you said on the radio that looked like there's a chance for him to play this week. The last 3 weeks when he wasn't out there, but still during the warm-ups, you see him working with Cole and some of the other young guys. Just what does it say about him, his work ethic, his demeanor to help you guys even when he can't play?
Well, I mean, he wants to be there, and if he can't contribute physically or like he hasn't been able the last 3 weeks, hopefully we do have him this week. He wants to, in some way, shape, or form, impact the team in a positive way. So throughout the course of the week, in the previous weeks, he has gotten some work, but when he hasn't been able to work, he's right there with those guys. He's with them in the film room. He's spending extra time with them. So he cares about Miami. He cares about his teammates. So he's had a really positive impact. And so you don't want to completely man, hard to find the word to use, but you know what I'm talking about. You want a team that really enjoys playing a physical brand, a very passionate brand of football that plays with great energy, that is relentless, and that plays for each other, and get better at, not going overboard, regardless of, whether you're being antagonized or whatnot. Just keep playing football, play to the Miami standard.
Mario, this town has obviously acknowledged, this town obviously and fans acknowledging the play and noticing you guys, playing fun football, playing great football, top 10 football. How important is it for, to keep that atmosphere for fans to come pack the Rock now, and especially in prime time on Friday?
Yeah, I think they're excited. I mean, you could feel it. You could feel it when we were in Gainesville, that the swarm of people that were out there. And we felt that this past week we looked to our sideline, and that was all orange and green, and they stayed there for the entire time. They really enjoyed it. I think they're witnessing a tremendous step for the program, one that we intend to continue ascending on, and I think they also get to see some really unique personalities and some special players that maybe haven't existed in Miami football in the last several years, and they're very personable, affable guys that love this community, that have done a lot of community service work, so their faces are very recognizable. There's a lot of local players on this team that were Little League like legends that are now becoming prominent players in our program. So I think the bond of the University of Miami football team is, I think, revived and once again becoming very real with the community. And that's, it's a reason why I wanted to come here as a player, because when that thing reaches a certain level of strength and power, it's unmatched. It's a great thing for the community. It changes the demeanor of our city and our people.
And just following up on what you said of having special players, obviously Cam named ACC Quarterback of the Week. Sometimes here in Florida, having a player like that and being able to do the things that he does, just a little bit more about what he's been able to bring, and help also with the rest of his teammates.
Yeah, Miami, tends to gravitate towards certain personalities, right? I mean, you've seen it, Don Shula, Bob Greasy, Dan Marino, right? LeBron James. I mean, there's been so many great athletes to go through here. Should I mention Joe Rose? You kind of get sensitive if I don't mention Joe Rose. So what happens is that these guys are, I guess they're handling it well, because again, they're back to your question. They're staying focused and the right type of mad. So their humility kind of shines through all the progress. And the most important thing is they know that we're playing a great football team this weekend. And they know it's the most important and the biggest game on our schedule right now. And so all focus is on that, and we're going to stay that course.
With the short week, just what are the challenges that present? Are there any big adjustments? And then happy early birthday as well.
Well, it's you almost put in perspective. In the NFL, they play on Sunday and then back on Thursday. We get scooched up a day, but we've had enough experience over the years and some really good regiments and blueprints for weeks like this on how to get the adequate rest and at the same time not miss out on the critical reps, when to really, knock each other around in pads and when to pull away from that. And I think we've established a good balance there. And then the coaches just gotta, you gotta suck it up. You gotta put in the hours that you miss on that Sunday. You gotta take those 24 hours and somehow plug them all in to the days of work leading up to, your real action plan days of practice. And we've done that, so we feel very confident in our processes and looking forward to playing a great football team.
And then with Isaiah Horton, just want to ask you, had a kind of breakout game of sorts, last week.
What's that? I'm sorry.
With Isaiah Horton, just
right.
How much have you seen him grow from when he got here to now, following that matchup?
I think you've all you guys have seen that from him. I mean, that guy, he's changed his body, he's changed his demeanor. He's always been a hard worker. It just, everyone wants things to be really quick, to happen right away. And he has had the natural progression of an excellent college football player, where he's changed his body, he's changed his mindset. And I think it's neat for him, guys like that got here when things were rough and you had to go through it and you had to endure and you had to learn and had to eat the tough moments. That's invaluable. I always think those guys their experience is more valuable for life and all the things that come with it. And he's been through that, and now he's seeing the benefits of having gone through that and having success. And he's another guy that's really, really hungry for more. So very driven guy, awesome family, just Class A people that have raised an awesome young man. And he's another one that we feel is just getting started.
The first 2 possessions in the second half to come out and get the stop and then come down and make it a 2-score game. It just felt like you could just dictate everything at that point. Just those 4 or 5 minutes, how important were they to that launching pad for what the second half became?
Well, I think our score before halftime, and then the defense, we have them in 3rd and long, but they hit a screen, but yet they hold up there. They jump off sides on the field goal. Then they miss the field goal. Then we get the stop coming out. Then we score, stop them, score again, and that's where the separation occurred. So, again, I've mentioned the defense a bunch, and I want to mention them more. The way that they adjusted and continued just making the tweaks necessary to get off the field against a high-octane offense like that was the ultimate difference maker, and in turn led way to what you were just mentioning.
We all talk about the offensive line a lot, out of respect, of course, for your background, but you're just so much more athletic in the interior of the defensive line than we've seen around here in a long time. How much of a concentration is that, and what's the ceiling for that group? Because
for the offensive line,
for the defense, the interior of the defensive line, you've got so much. You're very athletic, you're very long. USF can move. They just could not run the ball, and that's their strength. And when you took that away, you took it away, and you made it look easy. And you've done that kind of all year. What's the ceiling for that group?
Man, I think we're layered the right way. I think we have some seasoned veterans that have played a lot of football and have had a lot of success at different places and here. And then behind them are some high caliber, talented guys that are starting to show they're really good players and that have really, really bright futures. So we're capable of, using that depth and rolling them in there and keeping the competition levels high. But we can run, we can bend. We're certainly getting better. We're playing harder. They want more. They do. They want more. They want to be challenged. I think practice every day. I think practice is the best thing we do. I really do. I think the best thing we do is, and I think the best thing a coach can do really is to put together an organized, efficient, challenging practice to make sure guys are actually really getting better at their craft and that a team learns how to play, to each other's strengths and with one another. And I think that's starting to show up more and more. But we got a long ways to go. We got to get a whole lot better, and with a big challenge coming in here on Friday.
Mario, outside of Jordan Lyle's long run on Saturday, you guys think average about 3 and change in the rushing game. Damian, had a couple short touchdowns, obviously, but him and Mark didn't really break off any big runs. What have you seen with the running game? Is it, I guess maybe felt a little bit slower than you would normally like the last 2 weeks?
Well, I think especially when you compare it to the success of the passing game has been really, really explosive. And the running game has been solid to good, and we haven't had as many opportunities at it. But we're very confident in it. We've got good blockers. We've got good backs. I think we're really close to putting it all together. And there are some bright spots and some other times where, you certainly want more. It hasn't been as flashy, but I don't think we're interested in flash. We want to win football games, and whatever it takes to make sure we move the sticks and score points, we're going to do.
And just what have you seen from Matt McCoy? Has taken over that role at left guard with Ryan Rodriguez out. Put up pretty solid, grades on PFF. Looked pretty solid at that position. What have you seen from him?
Yeah, that guy is tough, man. That guy's tough. That guy was basically a power forward that took on football and just started growing and eating and lifting, and just jumped into that O-line culture that Coach Mario does such an awesome job with, and has become just a very resilient, hardworking, completely bought in, get after you every single play, athletic, bendy, twisty guy. This guy's got a big, big future, man. This guy is, if you could sign 3 Matt McCoys every single year, it's a home run. The guy is from top to bottom, inside and out. It's exactly what you want. Awesome family, awesome parents. He's probably the 3rd best athlete in his family. The parents and the sister are better athletes than him. We always kid him about that, but yeah, he's the right kind of guy, and You know, another reason why, again, why our team some of that close to the vest is we receive some more stuff, just because I think it's, you know, it's the right thing. It's for them and for us.
You mentioned some leaders kind of keeping the team level-headed and things like that. Obviously, you know, Cam Ward and Kiko Malinos of the world. Who are some other guys in that locker room that are kind of, you know, taking that leadership role?
Francis, big CC. You know, he doesn't talk a whole bunch, but when he does, you feel all 6'6", 335 of it. You know, because it comes from the heart. He's not going to be outworked in practice. He came in really talented, but his level of play this year, as compared to last year, it's two different planets. That guy's playing at an extremely high level because he works at it, and then when the lights come on, he goes after it with everything in his body and soul. So I think he was very impactful in the locker room on Saturday, and it's great. He's part of the leadership council. I think Zach Carpenter is another one that stands out. You know, Akeem Mesidor. We talked about Kiko. I think Mish Powell is an excellent leader. You know, Cam Ward, we've mentioned him a bunch. Elijah Arroyo has done an excellent job. You know, I mean, no one mentions Andy because, you know, we're scoring touchdowns, but he's knocking just about every ball out of the end zone as well, hitting his field goals and extra points. And there's, again, the best part about the team is they work really hard and they do a good job leading.
You talked a lot about guys are earning playing time in practice, and you're playing a lot of guys, obviously. Does, in the NBA, they call it shortening the rotation. Does the bar for playing time get a little higher now that you're in conference, or are you hoping, excuse me, that it stays this way?
They got to set the bar. You know, I can't orchestrate it or fake it. You know, it is what it is. When we go in there and watch film, they know. I mean, it's you put in the first 3 or 4 clips, and if the standard isn't met, they know there's something that comes with that. It's the only fair way to improve your team. I mean, if and we met as a staff and mentioned it, and also mentioned to the players, the only way to keep a team in a mindset of getting better is to make competition real, not create it, not orchestrate it, but legitimately like have great, tough-minded, resilient, hardworking guys going, trying to improve each other and being the best they can be. Not so much taking this job, taking that guy's job. That's, I don't know. Here, like, competition has been welcomed. And if you sat in the running back room, I think that epitomizes that whole concept. And it's made us so much better. And you're seeing it every week. It's somebody different is hitting it for us. And now you're starting to see it in the wide receiver room. The D-line room is starting to have its spurts. You mentioned guys like Matt McCoy, Sampson played some the other night as well. You're seeing more and more guys make plays. And you're seeing on the other side of the field, when they make a play, the same position group like going nuts, going bananas for their teammate. That's a good sign. So we want to keep emphasizing that and keep it going.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, guys.